Attention, attention. Today we're talking about the new Shinedown record. Attention, attention. A year ago today, I saw Iron Maiden on the Book of Souls World Tour in the UK, the first UK date at Nottingham, and Shinedown supported them. And a year later, after that gig, Shinedown have released their new album, Attention, Attention. Now, I was kind of looking forward to seeing Shinedown supporting Maiden because I liked their records growing up. Sound of Madness was my introduction to them. That came out when I was 6, that album, I think. So when I was like 6, 7, even 8, I was listening to that album a lot because I heard it in the car, and so I heard Sound of Madness quite a lot, and that sort of got me into Shinedown. And then Amarillas dropped in 2012, so I would have been 11 at that point, and yeah, I liked that album as well. I really liked Amarillas and Sound of Madness. Just sort of heard them all the time, and yeah, I became really familiar with all the tracks on there. But then in 2015, Shinedown released the record Threat to Survival, which I was really looking forward to at the time because I liked Sound of Madness, I liked Amarillas, and I was looking forward to hearing Threat to Survival. But I've heard that album once because I was really disappointed in it. And it's not, I don't mind bands taking a bit more of a poppy approach, but I just found the songs really predictable, really boring, just a lot of them pretty much just complete shit, and I really wasn't a fan of that record at all. I'm still not, and hear some of the tracks every now and then, and I don't like it. I'm not familiar with the album because I've only heard it once, and I've heard some of the tracks off it multiple times, and I can't really get into it. I really don't like that record. So when I heard that they were making a bit of a more heavy approach with this new album, Attention, Attention, I was a little bit more interested, and I was hoping that they would release an album that I enjoyed again. And then the song Devil got released, and Devil I thought was pretty good, but within a few listens it really sort of grabbed me, and I'll get into the tracks in a moment, but that got me a little bit more interested. Then the next single was The Human Radio, which was a bit different to Devil, and it's a bit different sounding for Shinedown as well, and a huge chorus. So these two tracks I actually liked. I kept listening to them, and they really grew on me, and I started to really enjoy them. So I was thinking, wow, I actually really like these tracks. If this album is as good as these two tracks, I think I'm going to really enjoy it. Then I found out that Attention, Attention was a concept album. I don't know if I've mentioned it on here before in any of my other reviews. I'm a big fan of concept albums. I love the fact that bands can go and tell a story through music, because I see music as a huge form of art, a great form of art, a great medium to go out and say things that need to be said, and it's a great way of telling stories and conveying messages, and that's why I really like albums that are conceptual and they tell a story. Now I've got up here the rough story to the album. It's a bit more of a simple concept album to most of them I listen to. It doesn't make it any less cool what they're saying. So the theme for the album, according to Wikipedia, the album tells a story of an individual in a very negative mental and emotional place, and over the course of the 14 tracks, has the man worked through his issues, becoming completely changed and pretty much a better person by the end of the last track. So pretty much the album's about someone who's in a very bad place, and by the end of the album they've sort of turned their life around and become a lot more positive. So it's a positive concept album, and I think it's how do I word this? This is just a huge mix-up, which I like. And although the tracks on here real have the same Shinedown, hard rock, catchy chorus vibe about it, the fact that they've gone out their way after the commercial success of Threat to Survival, instead of playing it really safe and just doing Threat to Survival again and getting big singles all the time, even though Devils had good a good radio play even as the single, instead of just sitting on pop hits about like breaking up and things like that, they've come out of their first ever concept album and really mixed it up and pushed the boat out a bit further and done something that they haven't done yet. And that's why I find this album quite interesting, because they've really tried to do something different here. They've approached songwriting differently. As I said, although a lot of the tracks obviously still sound like classic Shinedown, there's a couple of the bits on here that sound quite different, and the fact that they've made it a conceptual album is a first for Shinedown. 6 albums in, and they've just come out with a first concept album for them. So let's get into some of the tracks on here. The album starts with an intro called The Entrance, which was also played at the start of the Devil video. It's like the footsteps and the guy walking in, and then you hear like a door shut and things like that. And it's very simple. It works quite well. There's like a breath at the end, and then it hits straight into Devil. The transition between The Entrance and Devil works really well, because Devil's got like a thumping drum beat at the start, and Devil's the heaviest I've heard Shinedown in a while, and that sort of gave me some hope that this album will be a good hard rock album again. Devil's a great opening to the album with the lyrics. It's about to get heavy, and it's just a cool intro to the album. It shows the sort of darker side of the character at this early stage in the album, and it's a very cool hard rock song to get the album started. Goes through a slow bit before, like a slow bridge section before hitting straight back into a big riff, and great vocal performance from Brent Smith. So the first song on the album that I hadn't heard yet was obviously unreleased. It was called Black Soul. Now again, this is still the darker side of the record. The Devil finished, and I was wondering where the album would go from there, because pretty much all the tracks after that we hadn't heard. So Black Soul came on. It had a little sort of electronic intro, and I was like, okay. And it's actually this track's alright. It starts off with Brent Smith saying, what did he say? Look right, look left, and things like that, and saying, look at everyone you disrespect, or whatever it was. And then he was like, who's the arsehole now? And it was some pretty aggressive stuff vocally, lyrically from Brent there. And Black Soul has a huge chorus and an amazing vocal delivery from Brent Smith. His vocals are really great on this track. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a sort of electronic vibe to it. It's got some keys and stuff in there, and then some classic Shinedown, sort of big, larger-than-life choruses. It's pretty good. Next is one of the main mix-ups for me on the album called Attention Attention, the self-titled track. The verses are sort of almost rap, like kind of rap. Brent Smith delivering his vocals in a very lower range, and almost rapping the lyrics. Not quite, but almost, it's got that sort of flow to it. And I think that works really well. It goes into a chorus which is pretty good. It's a strong chorus. However, with those low sort of almost rap verses, I feel like this chorus seemed a bit too happy to go with that. Although the chorus is decent, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's just me being critical. I feel like the verses were quite, it feel like it could have gone into something quite heavier for the chorus, because there was just sort of a dark, low vocal going around, and then it just goes into sort of a quite sing-along happy chorus, and it just felt a little bit out of place for me personally, but it's a decent track. Next for me is the worst song on the album. This track is called Kill Your Conscience, and with a title like that I was expecting it to be quite a high rock song, and this feels like it could go on Threat to Survival. Kill Your Conscience has like an electronic section at the start. Again, I don't have a problem with that. The pre-chorus to this song is really horrible. It's like the drum beat picks up and Brent's vocals sort of pick up a little bit. It just seems so out of place and forced, and a really poppy chorus. And I don't like this track. I can't get into it. I've listened to the album a few times today because I knew I'd be making this review, and this is the one song I really can't get into. I don't like this song at all. And when I heard that, I was worried, because Attention Attention was okay, and Black Soul was pretty good, but I got into this and I was thinking, this album could take a downhill slide from here. And luckily, they picked it up next with the song Pyro, possibly one of the heaviest tracks I've ever heard from Shinedown. and this song really kicked it back into life and gave me hope that this album was going to be decent. So after the poor track of Kill Your Conscience, Pyro really comes in hard. A very hard rock track, pretty fast paced, and it's just a cool, really solid hard rock track. I can't remember what there was like when you the lyrics were something what do you do when your mother's a burnout but your father's the pyro and things like that, and it's quite an intense song for Shinedown, and this track was really enjoyable and it picked the album back up nicely. Next is Monsters, which starts off quite slow and then kicks into a big chorus saying all my monsters are real, and it's obviously showing like the darker side of the character still, saying that his demons or his monsters in this case are very real and need to be dealt with, and it's a decent enough track. Then it goes into Dark Side. Now this is where the album I feel like starts to, these tracks are decent, but it just starts to take a bit of I don't know how to describe it. At this point in the record I was starting to zone out just a little bit, and I was thinking the singles are still the best tracks I've heard in this album so far. Dark Side, ironically, the album was released on May the 4th, and there's a track called Dark Side. But Dark Side, it's okay. It doesn't really stick with me very much. It's a decent enough track, but it's kind of forgettable. It's not too bad, but it works quite nicely where it is, I guess. And then Creatures, the track after, again it's a bit more of a slower paced one, and luckily the album is picked up afterwards by Evolve, almost very hard rock, almost maybe a little bit heavy metal driven here. Evolve is just under 3 minutes and it's just relentless, and it's 2 minutes 50 something duration. It's just a relentless track, and I really like Evolve. It's quite aggressive again for Shinedown, possibly the heaviest Shinedown I've ever put out, and one of the best songs on the album in my opinion. And I mean, I'm not dissing Monsters, Dark Side or Creatures, because they're all pretty good tracks, especially Creatures, that's one of the best out of the three. But there was just, especially with Dark Side, the album was just starting to, it wasn't bad, it was just starting to drift away a little bit. But Creatures going into Evolve really picked that up again, because Creatures is a good track, but Evolve is really, really hard rock, and Evolve is what I wanted to hear from Shinedown, because I know they could produce that great hard rock stuff, and it proves that I think they're a better rock band than they are a pop rock band, but that's my opinion. And Evolve is a really, really solid track, with some like gang backing vocals and things on there, and it works really nicely. This is followed up by a complete opposite of that, and this is definitely where we start to see the more positive side of the character in this album. This next song is called Get Up, and when I saw that title, I don't know why I had it in my head it was going to be quite a fast-paced song. It was really the opposite. This song could easily get, if it was a single, this song could easily get like pop radio play. This song could easily be played on Radio 1 or something, but I'm not dissing it. It's a decent track, even though it feels like it could easily go on Threat to Survival. After the pure energy of Evolve, Get Up kind of works where it is, and it's sort of the character turning and becoming more positive, and it conveys a very positive message. And there's a section in there where it slows down a lot, and Brent Smith does a little spoken word thing where he says about maybe well, I don't know why I never talked about it, maybe that's part of the issue. And even though this is a conceptual album, I feel like that's an important message, obviously, to people who like maybe suffer from mental health and things like that. And this is a really positive track, and even though I know it's a bit more of a soft sort of poppy ballad, this song actually worked quite well on the album, and it's just a good positive vibe to show that the character is turning. Next on the album, this transitions into a song called Special, which is the only track on the album that's not written in capital letters. All the song titles are in caps, but Special. Obviously this can be interpreted how you wish to see it. I maybe see that as it's just a reminder that we're all human, and I don't know, you can see that how you want to see it, but Special is the only track on the album that's not written in caps, and it's another ballad, but it's sort of effectively Get Up Part 2. It sort of transitions into the 2, and it's like the soft section of the album, and Special is a cool song. It's got a very nice string section on there, and I don't know, it's just another nice ballad. It's got the backing vocals to Get Up in a part of it. Even though I feel like it's a little dark, it's a bit darker than Get Up, because Get Up is a very, very positive, sort of empowering message, and Special's a little darker in there, with the chorus saying you're not special. It's got the backing vocals to Get Up in there, and this track works really well, and these two ballads actually work really well together. And this is brought up again nicely afterwards by the Human Radio, the other single from the record. So you get the nice soft section, and then you get Human Radio, which is a really, really powerful track. And I really like this song. Starts off with a little bass line, cool bass line, and goes into some really cool hard rock riffs. Before bringing it back down again, there's a cool pacing around this song. It sort of builds itself up and goes back down. And by the end of it, it's like this huge anthemic anthem, this huge, like, massive, larger-than-life chorus. And I like the Human Radio. It's got a cool vibe to it. And I know a couple of people online said they weren't too, be keen on this track, and they were more of a fan of Devil. I get that, but yeah, I really like the Human Radio. I like the electronic sort of backing vocals on there, and this is a cool song. And the video was quite cool as well. It had a good message. The Human Radio is a very good track, and yeah, this is how Shinedown should sound in my opinion. That sort of real cool, solid hard rock, like Pyro, like Human Radio, like Devil, things like that. Because even though they're commercially accessible songs, they're still enjoyable to listen to. I've still got a very cool sort of hard rock groove in there, and yeah, they're still enjoyable to listen to. The last song on the album, I saw the title and I thought the title was, I was judging the title before I heard it. This song is called Brilliant, but it's a really, really good ending to the album. Now the song starts very sort of ballady, and I was expecting it to be another, a nice ballad to end the album, and I was wrong. It goes through a nice soft section, then it pauses and this guitar riff comes in and it turns into probably the quickest song on the album, the most fast-paced track on the album. And this song's really, really positive. Again, this is a complete U-turn. If you go back to the start of the record, when you look at Devil and Black Soul, especially Devil, the first track, we'll use that as an example because it's the first song on the album. If you look at Devil and then look at Brilliant, either side of the album, you can see what they've gone for. It's a complete U-turn from Devil. It's a complete 180, however you want to see it. It is the complete opposite. And now Brilliant features the lyric, I think it was, this is my day to feel brilliant. And it's a very positive song, and it shows that character who was once the very shy, sort of, well, I interpreted shy, the very sort of depressed character in that very strange mindset, is now saying about a very positive message and Brilliant, sort of saying this is my chance, this is, my chance to be brilliant. And it's a very nice ending to the album. It goes into another quick fast part, which is very sort of atmospheric. There's some cool parts going on in there, very cool riff, one of the strongest on the album, and it just ends really nicely. It goes back to the intro, what was it called? The entrance, yeah, that was it. It goes back to that, but it was like the footsteps walking away, and then the door shuts, and then Brent Smith says, until next time. And I thought that was a really cool ending to the album, sort of linking it back to the start of the record. So the fact that it links it back to the start of the album, I thought that worked really nicely, because even though it goes through all these mindsets of the character, it goes back to that start, and I saw that as him walking away a better man. So what do I think of the album? As a whole, I really enjoy it. There's a couple of weaker tracks on here. I mean, was it Kill Your Conscience? I really don't like that track. I can't get into it at all. Really, really poor track. If that would have been taken off, there isn't too much I can criticise really. Because I will agree, I will say that some of the tracks on here, they're still a little bit predictable. Obviously, they're a commercial rock band. However, this is a huge step forward, in my opinion, pushing the limits a lot. And I think this is what bands like Bullet for My Valentine need to do. Really come out of their comfort zone and try something completely different, because that's an artist for me. There's a difference between an artist and an entertainer. and an artist does things that they think are right and doesn't just try and please the same people over and over again. And this is what Shinedown have done here. And I think if they continue to build on this, they're going in a really great direction. And this is, I'd say this is the best album since Sound of Madness. I mean, I love I really liked Amaryllis, but this is far more ambitious, and this is covering new ground for Shinedown. So on that aspect, I'm going to have to say best album since Sound of Madness. Some people, I've seen a couple of comments saying it's Shinedown's best album, but I'm not going to say it is or it isn't. It's up to you to decide that. Yeah, as a whole, Attention is very interesting, because it's a band that could just continue to play it safe, but instead they've really come out of their comfort zone. They've approached songwriting differently, and they've come out with a conceptual album, and I think this is a big step forward, especially after Threat to Survival. Instead of playing it safe and doing that whole like pop commercial thing, they've done a conceptual album, and this is a cool album. I really like some of the tracks on there. My personal favourites would be Devil, Pyro, Evolve, and Human Radio, I'd say. But as I said, Special's great, Brilliant's great, Black Soul's great, Attention's alright as well. But yeah, there's some really cool tracks on this album, like Creatures is good, and yeah, I like this album. Is it life-changing? I personally, not for me. I can listen to this album and enjoy it, but it's not gonna, blow me away every time I hear it. So I'm gonna give this album a solid 3.5 out of 5, because it's a good record. It's nice to listen to. I've listened to it a few times today, and there's some very cool moments on there. But as I said, it's not anything that's gonna, for me anyway, it's not life changing. But it is a good album, and this is the best Shinedown have sounded in like 10 years. Because the Amaryllis was good, as I said, but this is far more ambitious, and this is 100 times better than Threat to Survival. So there's my take on Attention. I want to know if you agree or disagree with my comments. If there's any things I've said in this review that you agree with or you don't agree with, let me know. See what you tell me what you think of the album, because I know that a lot of people have really enjoyed this album, but then maybe a conceptual album from Shinedown isn't what some people wanted. But then again, that's the joy of music. We all have different opinions. But let me know what you think of Attention. And if you enjoyed the review, I've got some other stuff on the channel. I mean, this is a new channel, so I haven't got many subs yet, but I've got some decent views on some of my videos, so thank you for that. So yeah, if you enjoyed what you saw, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe, and that'd be great. Also, the Alice in Chains are up to a new track today, so let me know what you think of that as well. But yeah, there's some cool music coming out. There's some stuff we're going to be talking about on there. So if there's any albums you want me to do, let me know. If you enjoyed the review, please subscribe, and let me know what you thought of Shinedown's new record, Attention. Thank you for watching.